I never even knew Sheena existed. I was flirting with her roommate, and she appeared out of nowhere with that big smile and those big thighs and all that big black Mexican hair. Hack writers write about sparks, and every movie tells you there's someone waiting for you just across the room. And then a member of the opposite sex grins at you like Sheena does, and you think, it's happening. You don't know where it started or how to keep it from vanishing as quickly as it began, but it's happening, and it's happening to you. Sheena was one of those girls, one of those no bullshit girls. There wasn't any game, no defense to speak of. She liked me, and she didn't hide it. She was sarcastic, teasing, and tuned in. She had a smart mouth and keen ears. If she liked what she heard, she threw it back. We threw it back and forth. Of course, when someone thinks you're cool, you run the risk of being too cool. I played it way too cool. If she was here, I was there, and only once in a dizzy while did we end up drinking in the same place with the same people. I remember everything being so loud back then, except the corner I shared with Sheena. While our drunken coterie struggled to pick each other up, we leaned on one another. She warmed me with those big thighs and beamed up at me with that big smile and let me put my hands in that big black Mexican hair. And years later, when I'd exited the coterie but still came back to visit, I'd walk her home from the parties and invite myself inside her place, like I had a right to be there. A woman can make a man feel a certain way, like he can walk into her bedroom instead of making the long drive home. Many college nights have slipped into a wine-dark void, but not the texture of her belly under my fingers, nor how welcome she made me feel in her own bed. A woman can make a man feel a certain way, that he's handsome or charming or, God forbid, both. A woman can open her legs to a man knowing he wants what's inside and that it's okay to laugh. It's okay for both of them to laugh. I remember laughing and the smell of her and all that gorgeous moving flesh and that big, big smile. When you're just friends, you never know when the last time will be the last time. When she lets you be cool, she never calls you to ask if you want to come over. And when you're too cool, you wonder, years later, if she knew how much it meant that she kept that bed so warm. A man can coast a long time on feeling cool before he even thinks to check his rearview mirror. She was always back there, but eventually we lost contact. After college, she opened a dance studio across the country, and then, a few years ago, she got married. She cut most of her hair off and makes very professional instructional videos on YouTube. We shared a really nice phone call somewhere in the midst of all that. She was happy. That made me happy. The last time we talked was probably 10 years ago. The last time I danced with her was 20 years ago, in Tijuana. She was the only one in the group who was sober enough to walk on her own, aside from me, who had to drive too many drunk teenagers too many miles back to campus. But I needed a few minutes to get my head straight. So she leaned against my car and opened her arms to me, a shield against that cold desert night. and our idiot friends hooted like apes as we made out like we'd made it to the end of the movie. I said some funny things. She said some funny things. I wish I remembered how clever we were. What I do remember is how I felt when the Mexican wind whipped all her hair into my face, and I held her hips in my hands. I remember my lips throbbing as I drove north on the San Diego freeway, straight on till morning. Sometimes there isn't any drama. Sometimes two people just dig each other in that alley between friendship and love. We threw it back and forth. Smiles, sex, sass, and the soft wind over the border of California.